We've been talking about net neutrality for a while. The FCC's new consumer-friendly net neutrality rules just went into effect last week. We've talked about how there are some loopholes for big internet service providers, but there are three very important actions that are banned by those new rules. One is paid traffic prioritization, two is data blocking, and three is bandwidth throttling. And the first lawsuit over alleged violations of these new rules is already set to be filed. It won't be against Comcast. It won't be against AT&T. It will be against Time Warner Cable. According to a new report, Time Warner Cable is about to be slapped with a lawsuit alleging that they charged a video content provider exorbitantly high rates to avoid being throttled. As reported by BGR, quote, San Diego-based Commercial Network Services owns and operates San Diego Live, which is a website that serves live video streams from webcams. According to a report from the Washington Post, the company is days away from filing a lawsuit alleging that Time Warner Cable held its traffic and therefore business hostage by charging unreasonably high rates to avoid being throttled. CNS boss Barry Barami says Time Warner Cable's policies are a blatant violation of the FCC's new net neutrality rules, which took effect this past Friday. This is not traffic we're pushing to Time Warner. This is traffic that they're paying internet access subscribers are asking for from us. In other words, they're absolutely awful if this is true. Listen to this quote from Time Warner Cable. Time Warner Cable's interconnection practices are not only just and reasonable, as required by the FCC, but consistent with the practices of all major ISPs and well-established industry standards. In other words, Lewis, all of the ISPs are doing this, and they would do it a lot more were it not for these new FCC net neutrality rules.
So let's find all of them and let's find out how this is happening. That's what I'm taking from this.
Yeah, this is exactly why these new net neutrality rules were needed and enacted, right? I pay my internet service provider for bandwidth. It should make no difference whether I'm looking at Netflix or YouTube or NBC.com or San Diego Live web streams. What the bandwidth I get is. It is exactly what these rules are meant to prevent. That I, as a paid subscriber of one of these internet service providers who pays for 25 megabit down, 15 megabit up, for example, or whatever it is I'm paying for, that I might not get that because of the particulars of how my service provider is throttling bandwidth for particular websites or streaming services. If true, we now have a legal framework that presumably would fine these companies for doing this. We'll see what happens with this lawsuit.
I really hope that if there is a fine here, it's a substantial one. Too frequently, the fines are just completely negligible for those companies that would pay them. We need to set a precedent here.